Okay, this is going to be a fan replacement video for an old XFX R9 390 graphics card. This is the XFX Double Dissipation Black. Alright, this is a pretty impromptu video, so excuse me if I stutter too much or whatever. But here we go. So the problem with this card is the fans, they work, but they only spin up when the card reaches a temperature past about 82 degrees. So it's very, very annoying and intrusive when your fans go from 0 RPM all the way up to like 2000. Sounds like your graphics card is taking off. So to remedy that, we're going to try to replace the fans with these, which are fans that I was sent by XFX and their warranty service. Alright, those should be new fans, so all we have to do is take the graphics card apart. So right here, what you're going to need is a little screwdriver that has a bit that will fit these screws on the back. Now, taking apart graphics cards is pretty self-explanatory, or pretty simple at least, relatively. Really all you have to do, usually they'll have 4 screws on the back that are holding the actual cooler in place. Right here I'm just using a multi-bit tool set, as well as a little magnetic mat to hold my screws. But yeah, GPUs or graphics cards will usually have just 4 screws holding the heatsink in place. Some graphics cards will have multiple if it's like a really large one spread across the whole like back. But this one, all you have to do is take off these 4 screws. And usually you would want to be using an anti-static wrist strap. Thankfully I got one right here, just kidding. If not, then you can just touch something metal. But here we go. Your GPU, your graphics card should just separate from the heatsink and only be connected via the cable that is attached to the single cable from the fans that is attached to the actual PCB. And you can just take that out because we're going to be replacing that. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult because sometimes if you've never taken the GPU fan header out, it can be a little bit difficult, but I've already taken this part once. So there we go, it just comes off like that. So now you have your PCB without its heatsink. This is the PCB layout of the R9 390 Dual Dissipation Black from XFX. Very, very pretty card. Oldie but a goodie. Oldie but a goodie. Alright, so you have the option of replacing the thermal paste as well, but I'm not going to be doing that. So your fans are going to be attached to the heatsink always. To take the heatsink apart, you're going to need to unscrew some more screws. This one only has 6 screws. This requires a smaller bit, so this is where the importance of having a multi-bit screw tool set comes into play. As oftentimes you'll have screws that are not the same size. Alright, once you have those 6 screws out, you can simply separate the heatsink from the plastic shroud. I was going to set this shroud up top here. And here we go. First thing we're going to do is actually unscrew the fans. Your fans are going to be screwed in to the heatsink, usually with 3 small screws. So there's 1. I think I need a smaller bit. This particular card requires 3 different bit sizes, and now this screw is kind of stuck. These are always tricky to get out because you usually have to finesse in between the fan blades. Unless you just want to break the fan blades off. That's always an option. But you know, I kind of want to keep these in one piece. All right, now that the fans are no longer mounted to the actual heatsink, we can go ahead and cut the plastic zip ties holding it in place. You see that? Yeah. One there and one here. Rip the blade. Oh, gotta be careful not to cut yourself. Yeah. If you have a fine pair of scissors, you can usually get these off pretty quickly. Or a pair of like nail clippers. Nail clippers might actually work. I thought this was going to be easier, but it feels like I'm gonna have to saw away at this. This cheap plastic is not, it's not budging. It's thick. It's a thick plastic. All right, I'm gonna go find some nail cutters. All right, I am back. So right here I have some nail clippers, I think. Or I think these are technically cuticle clippers, cuticle cutters, something along those lines. It squeaks because it's old and it's hard to press. But here, look, as long as it cuts, it should be able to cut, hopefully. If we can get under there. There we go. Now we just kind of pull this out. Perfect. It really wants to stay. Okay. That will go into the trash. Now for the next one. This is frustrating. Okay, there we go. That worked out nicely. You just need the correct tool for the job. So keep that in mind. Always think of what you need, the tools, required supplies. Okay. All right, let's just set these aside. And we're gonna go in with these new fans. So the cable is supposed to go in between these little kind of fences. All right, so the longer cable goes on this side. Shorter cable, this side. So we're going to screw the fans in first and then fiddle with the cables later. All right, now that we have these screws in, let's try to cable manage, huh? The cable is supposed to go like so, like so. Oh boy. I feel like this needs to be cable tied down. What do I want to do? Do I really want to zip tie this down? Let's see. We'll see. Let's see if we can just like screw it back onto the actual plastic shroud and see if it like the cable just kind of chills, you know? This is the correct orientation, right? Yes, it is. This is the correct orientation. Now you just gotta make sure that the cables aren't in the way so that it can plop down and the screw holes make contact with these standoffs. And just making sure that they are, and indeed, yes indeed, you can also tell by like looking at the fans and seeing how they're kind of flush, almost flush with the actual insets, holes, whatever you call those, holes on the fan shroud. Okay, let's screw this in. So we're going to screw in the heatsink now. I'm gonna start from the middle and work my way out. So there we go, that's one screw. All right. That is a do. Okay, all right, come on. No. Now you gotta go back in. You gotta go back in. Playtime's over. Gotta go back in the hole from where you came. Let's get the corners now. Make sure the cable's not in the way. There we go. Yep. This corner, that corner, and the last screw down here. Come on, don't be stubborn. Uh-oh. Is it not aligned? It's not aligned, is it? It's always the last screw. Whoa there. I heard that crack. Did you hear that crack? I know you're plastic, but come on. I wasn't even pushing down that hard. Or was it the fan? I hope it wasn't the fans. Nope. Alright, the fans are spinning just fine. Okay. Alright, now we are ready to put the heatsink fan assembly back onto the actual card. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is orient it so that I could just kind of flip it on over. So I'm gonna need to plug in this cable first. And this cable is kind of stuck. Oh no. I feel like I screwed it in. I think I did screw it in. Oh yikes. Okay, let's So sometimes mistakes like this do happen where you kind of screw in the, the cable in with the actual standoff. Hopefully that doesn't affect things Okay, so now we are going to put the heatsink fan assembly back onto the card. So you gotta plug this back in, the little fan cable. Gotta stick it in. Make sure it's in there. There we go. All right. Now I'm just going to flip the PCB back onto the heatsink. And that should be it. That'll be it, folks. All right, let's screw this back in now and hope it works. Because again, this is not guaranteed to fix the fan problem, but we're hoping that it does. We're hoping that it does. We're hoping that it does. Burp. Ooh, yikes. That was a burp. That was indeed a burp. All right, second screw. Made a unsettling sound there. Hopefully things are okay. Yikes. Screw number 3. Screw number 4, the last one. Okay. So after this, we can just pop it into a system and see if it works. All right, see if it's fixed. And yeah, that should do it. That should do it. Well, there it is. We are finally done putting everything back together. Now make sure these fans spin and are not interfering with anything. All right, the cable right here kind of crept up on the fan, so we're going to need to fix that actually now. As you can see, that cable is interfering with that fan, so probably should have zip tied it down. Probably. Or I can just push it right under the fan shroud. And now it spins without any problem. Just push your problems under the rug. You know? There we go. Here is the moment of truth. We're in MSI Afterburner, so the card is recognized. The fans are still spinning, but we can only do a true test when we up the fan speed manually in MSI Afterburner. So here we go. We should hear it gradually get faster. There we go. It's being a little finicky. Oh. Oh. Okay. And now the card is taking off. 100%. Not too bad, actually. All right, we're going to bring it down, reset it. All right, there we go.